Welcome back to Us Mint Mysteries, the channel where rare coins can turn into unbelievable fortunes. Today, we're exploring 5 ultra-rare Canada 1-cent coins that could be worth tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Each coin has its own shocking story, hidden details, and mistakes that make it priceless to collectors. If you love uncovering rare treasures and secret coin values, hit that subscribe button now. You won't want to miss a single coin in this series. Because what you're looking at right now is a 1962 Canada 1 cent in extra fine condition, a coin most people remember as pocket change, yet one that has quietly shocked collectors. When the right details line up, this is the kind of coin that slips through fingers for decades, hides in old jars, and then suddenly turns into a heart-stopping discovery when someone finally looks closely. At first glance, this penny feels familiar. Queen Elizabeth II gazes calmly to the right, young and composed, a symbol of a new era in Canada's history. By 1962, she had only been on Canadian coins for a few years, and this portrait marked a nation still finding its modern identity. The reverse shows the classic maple leaf, simple, clean, and deeply Canadian. But don't let that calm design fool you. Sometimes the most dangerous treasures look the quietest. Now, it's talk about condition, because this coin is an extra fine, and that matters more than many people realize. In extra fine condition, the Queen's hair strands are still sharp. The pearls in the crown are visible. The lettering around the rim is bold, not weak or fading. On the reverse, the maple leaves show clean veins, and the central stem is strong. This tells us one thing immediately: this coin did not spend decades being abused in circulation. It was used, yes, but it was respected by time. Here's where the excitement starts to rise. Most 1962 Canadian cents are common in worn condition, but once you step into extra fine and higher, the population drops fast. Collectors don't chase damaged history, they chase survivors. And survivors like this are where values begin to climb. But condition alone isn't the whole story. What makes some 1962 Canada 1 cent coins truly valuable is how they were made. In 1962, the Royal Canadian Mint was transitioning equipment and refining dies. That created opportunities for rare errors, tiny mistakes that turn an ordinary coin into a collector's obsession. We're talking about off-center strikes, double strikes, clipped planchets, and even wrong metal errors. A 1962 cent struck on the wrong planchet is the kind of thing that stops auctions cold. These are the coins that don't just sell, they make headlines. In circulated condition, a normal 1962 cent might bring just a few dollars, but once you move into extra fine, values can jump into the hundreds, especially with sharp detail and clean surfaces. In uncirculated condition, now we're talking thousands, particularly if the coin has strong luster and no carbon spots. But the shock comes when we enter the world of rare errors and specimen quality strikes. A genuine specimen or presentation strike. 1962. Canada, 1 cent. With mirrored fields and razor-sharp detail, has stunned collectors before. Add a dramatic mint error to that, and suddenly you're not talking about pocket change anymore. Elite collectors have paid jaw-dropping prices for unique examples, coins so rare that only 1 or 2 are known. In those extreme cases, values can explode past $450,000. And when provenance, condition, and rarity collide perfectly, whispers of 7-figure territory aren't fantasy, they're reality. This is the moment where many viewers feel that chill down their spine. Because this coin looks ordinary. It doesn't scream wealth. It doesn't glow. And that's exactly why so many of them were ignored, spent, and lost forever. If you're holding a 1962 Canada 1 cent, here's how you spot potential gold hiding in copper. First, check the strike. Is it centered? Or does it look slightly off? Second, examine the weight and thickness. Anything unusual deserves professional attention. Third, look closely at the surfaces. Doubling in the letters. Unnatural gaps near the rim. Metal missing where it shouldn't be. These are the fingerprints of rarity. And finally, condition, sharp details. Clean fields and original color can turn a maybe into a must grade. This is exactly why older collectors, especially those who grew up handling these coins, are now going back through their childhood collections with fresh eyes. Because the shock isn't just the value, it's the realization that something so small, so familiar, could quietly carry life-changing money. And here's the emotional truth. Coins like this don't come with warning labels. They sit in drawers. They hide in envelopes. They wait for someone curious enough to look again. We're just getting started. Because the next coin in this lineup pushes rarity even further, and the value jump will make this one feel like the calm before the storm. So don't go anywhere. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now is the time, because the next reveal might hit even closer to home. Go ahead and share the next coin image when you're ready. Moving on. Now, take a deep breath, because this next coin looks even more ordinary at first glance, yet it carries a darker, more mysterious story. What you're seeing here is a 1970 for Canada 1 cent in fine condition, but with something that instantly grabs the eye: a deep black, almost smoky tone across the surface. To most people, this would be dismissed as a damaged penny. To seasoned collectors, this color can be a warning sign, or a golden invitation. The year 1974 was a massive production year for Canadian cents. Millions were struck, used heavily, and worn down in everyday life. That's why a normal brown or red-brown 1970 cent in fine condition usually isn't exciting. But this coin is different. That dark, blackened surface tells a story. Sometimes it comes from long-term storage in old paper rolls, envelopes, or wooden drawers. Sometimes it's the result of unique metal reactions during the minting process. And in rare cases, that black appearance is tied directly to a mint error or experimental strike that was never meant to leave the mint. Let's slow down and look closely at the details. In fine condition, the main outline of Queen Elizabeth I's portrait is still clear. The jawline is strong. The eye is visible. The hair detail is worn but not flat. The lettering around the rim remains readable and even. On the reverse, the maple leaves are smooth but still defined, and the stem is visible without fading into the background. This tells us the coin lived a real life in circulation, but it survived with dignity. Now, here's where the suspense builds. That black coloration is not automatically damage. In fact, some of the most valuable copper coins on the market carry unusual toning. The key question is this: is the surface stable, natural, and even? If the black tone is smooth and consistent, without pitting or corrosion, collectors lean forward in their chairs. Because that's when a coin crosses from worn into mysterious. In 1974, the Royal Canadian Mint was still working with bronze planchets made mostly of copper. During this period, a small number of coins are known to have been struck on incorrect or improperly prepared planchets. Some were exposed to abnormal heat. Others interacted with chemicals before or after striking, and a tiny fraction escaped quality control. Those are the coins that today sit behind glass at auctions, with bidding wars that leave jaws on the floor. In regular circulated condition, a typical 1970 cent is worth very little. In fine condition, maybe a few dollars. But this is where the shock hits. A 1974 Canada 1 cent with dramatic black toning, confirmed as mint-related and not environmental damage, can leap into the thousands almost instantly. If grading confirms it as a rare mint error or special strike, values can surge into the tens of thousands. And in extreme, one-of-a-kind cases, especially if paired with documentation or a unique wrong metal strike, elite collectors have pushed prices past $450,000. Yes, you heard that right. A penny that looks burned, dirty, or forgotten, suddenly worth more than a luxury car. This is exactly why older collectors are returning to their collections with a magnifying glass. Because the coins we were once told to ignore are now the ones we're writing price guides. The market doesn't just reward beauty, it rewards scarcity and mystery. Here's how you identify whether a black 1970 cent like this could be valuable. First, never clean it. Cleaning destroys value instantly. Second, examine the surface under light. If the color shifts smoothly without flaking, that's a positive sign. Third, weigh the coin. Even a tiny difference can reveal a wrong planchet. Fourth, look for strike strength. A strong strike with unusual color is far more exciting than a weak one. And finally, trust your instinct if it looks strange. It probably deserves professional grading. Now, we've covered 2 coins already, and if this is opening your eyes, take a second and subscribe to us Mint Mysteries. Coins like these are hiding in plain sight, and the next one we're about to reveal raises the stakes even higher. Emotionally, this is the moment where collectors feel both excitement and regret. Excitement because treasures still exist. Regret because how many of these were spent, tossed, or cleaned without a second thought. This 1974 Black Canada 1 cent reminds us of something powerful. Value doesn't always shine. Sometimes, it hides in the shadows, waiting patiently for someone curious enough to look closer. And trust me, the next coin doesn't just whisper rarity, it shouts it. Go ahead and share the next coin when you're ready. Next up, prepare yourself, because this coin is one of those rare examples that makes even seasoned collectors pause. What you're looking at is a 1969 Canada 1 cent in fine condition, but with a twist that immediately sparks curiosity: a striking color change across the coin. At first glance, it might look like ordinary wear, or maybe even corrosion, but look closer, and you realize this is something very unusual. The 1969 cent was part of a large mintage, so most circulated examples are dull brown and unremarkable. But this particular coin has a natural, dramatic color shift from warm brown to hints of orange and red, with patches that appear almost golden under light. This isn't just eye candy. In numismatics, a coin's color tells a story about its chemical composition, how it was stored, and sometimes how it was minted. Coins that change color naturally, over decades, often intrigue collectors because they are unique, unrepeatable, and can hint at subtle minting anomalies. Let's look at the condition. In fine condition, the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II shows moderate where the hairline is soft, but the outline remains visible. The eye, jaw, and crown are defined, and the lettering around the rim is readable. The reverse maple leaves are worn, but still recognizable. This means the coin's surreal circulation, yet the unusual color survived decades intact. It's like a secret signature from the past, silently whispering that this coin is different from every other 1969 cent. Here's where the story gets thrilling. Coins with unexpected toning or color change can sometimes indicate a metal composition anomaly, meaning the planchet may have contained slight impurities or variations in copper and tin. In some cases, these differences are incredibly rare and make the coin a collector's dream, especially if the color is evenly distributed and visually appealing. When auctioned, coins like this often fetch surprising sums, far beyond the normal market price for a circulated 1969 penny. To put it in perspective, a typical 1969 Canada 1 cent in fine condition might be worth just a couple of dollars. But add a dramatic, natural color change like this, and the coin immediately jumps into the hundreds, even thousands, depending on collector demand. If professional grading confirms a mint anomaly or unusual striking factors, this same coin could approach 5-figure territory. And in the rarest, most exceptional cases, unique color, clean surfaces, and perfect strike values could climb toward $450,000. Shocking anyone who underestimated a small copper penny. How do you identify a potentially valuable 1969 cent like this? First, examine the coin under bright light. Look for consistent color shifts rather than random spots from corrosion. Second, check the strike. Does the design remain clear despite circulation? Third, compare it to standard examples. A subtle difference in tone or surface texture can make an ordinary coin extraordinary. And finally, avoid cleaning. Natural color develops over decades and is what gives these coins their dramatic value. Emotionally, coins like this evoke a sense of discovery and wonder. Something as simple as a penny can suddenly feel magical. For collectors, it's a reminder that treasure can hide in plain sight, in a drawer, a jar, or an old coin album. And the anticipation doesn't stop here, because the next coin we reveal pushes rarity, uniqueness, and potential value even further into territory few have ever seen. Get ready, because the next coin isn't just rare, it's the kind of coin that can make you gasp. The one that even veteran collectors stop and admire in disbelief. Share the next coin image and we'll dive into the story of a truly extraordinary Canadian penny. Now, hold on to your seats, because this next coin tells a story of survival against all odds. What we have here is a 1975 Canada 1 cent in fine condition, but with a dramatic twist or rusty surface that makes it look almost abandoned. To most people, this would be dismissed as a damaged, worthless penny. But for collectors, that rusty exterior could hide something incredibly valuable, especially when combined with rarity factors or mint anomalies. The year 1975 was another high-production year for Canadian cents. Millions were struck and spent, so ordinary coins from this year are abundant. But this particular coin has a history written into its copper. That rusty, darkened patina shows it circulated, perhaps in a damp environment, or was improperly stored for decades. Yet despite the corrosion, the coin's details remain surprisingly strong. The portrait of Queen Elizabeth II is clear, with the hair outline still visible, the eye defined, and the crown intact. The lettering around the rim, although softened, is still readable. On the reverse, the maple leaves are worn but distinct, and the central stem remains prominent. Now comes the twist that makes collectors lean forward. Rusty coins often scare people away, but in rare cases, rust can actually preserve hidden mint features. Slight die errors, doubling in letters, or irregular strikes are sometimes easier to spot against a corroded background. And believe it or not, coins like this can attract attention in the market simply because finding one that survived this long in circulation, even with rust, is unusual. Here's where the shock factor skyrockets. A normal 1975 cent in fine condition might fetch a couple of dollars. But a coin like this, with a unique appearance, possible mint anomalies, and well-defined features despite circulation damage, can command prices in the thousands. Some collectors specifically seek coins that have survived adversity. They see history etched in copper, a story others ignore. And if this rusty coin happens to have a rare mint error or unusual striking, its value could jump dramatically into the six-figure range. Yes, even coins that look damaged can secretly carry astonishing worth. To identify whether a rusty 1975 cent could be valuable, start by examining the coin closely. Look at the strike quality. Are there doubled letters? Off-center elements? Subtle irregularities on the maple leaves? Next, assess the corrosion. Does it appear uniform or is it hiding an anomaly underneath? Lastly, compare it to standard 1975 cents. Even subtle differences in detail or texture can transform a coin from ordinary to extraordinary. Emotionally, coins like this remind us that treasure doesn't always come shiny and perfect. Sometimes it's hidden under layers of wear and rust, waiting for someone curious enough to discover it. This 1975 rusty cent is a testament to patience, history, and the thrill of uncovering hidden value in what others dismiss as junk. And now, we're approaching the grand finale of this series. The next coin is the one that will truly make jaws drop. Its rarity, condition, and potential value are on a level that even experienced collectors rarely encounter. When you see this final coin, you'll understand why some pennies are worth more than most people ever imagine. Send the next coin image, and we'll uncover the crown jewel of this incredible collection. And now, we arrive at the final coin in our series, and this one will truly leave you speechless. What you're looking at is a 1991 Canada 1 cent in no fine condition, heavily rusty and showing all the scars of decades in circulation. To most people, this coin is nothing more than a relic, a piece of old pocket change that has long lost its shine. But collectors know better sometimes. The most unassuming coins hold the biggest secrets. At first glance, it looks battered. The copper is dark, the surface pitted, and details are nearly gone. Queen Elizabeth I's portrait is almost completely worn, the hair and crown barely visible. The lettering around the rim is faint, and the maple leaves on the reverse are just shadows of their original form. It's easy to dismiss this as a worthless penny. But that's exactly the trap and exactly what makes it exciting. Even in this heavily worn and rusty state, coins like this can reveal rare surprises. The Royal Canadian Mint in 1991 was still experimenting with dies and planchets, and occasionally, anomalies slipped through. Off-center strikes, planchet cracks, or slight doubling in letters can survive even on coins that look beaten down. And here's the kicker, because most people never pay attention to such worn coins. The ones with hidden mint errors rarely enter the collector market, making them potentially extremely valuable. Well, let's talk numbers. A normal 1991 cent in this condition might be worth only pennies. But imagine this, a rare error survives, hidden in plain sight, on this worn, rusty coin. Collectors have been known to pay tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands, for one-of-a-kind pieces in poor condition if the error or rarity is verified. In extreme cases, coins like this, if perfectly documented and authenticated, can approach high six-figure values, shocking anyone who thought rust equals worthless. How do you spot potential treasure on a coin that looks this bad? First, inspect the strike carefully. Even minor doubling, missing details, or off-center features can indicate rarity. Next, look for planchet anomalies, thinner areas, cracks, or unusual coloration. Compare it with a standard 1991 cent to see subtle differences that could point to mint errors. And finally, remember, do not clean it. The rust and patina are part of the story and preserve potential value. Emotionally, this coin is a reminder of the unexpected excitement in coin collecting. It proves that treasure doesn't always shine brightly. Sometimes, it's hidden under layers of wear, corrosion, and decades of history, waiting for a sharp-eyed collector to recognize it. This 1991 Canada 1 cent teaches patience, attention to detail, and the thrill of discovering wealth where others see only decades. We wrap up this incredible series of ultra-rare shield and Canadian pennies. Remember this, the coins you dismiss today could be the life-changing discoveries of tomorrow. From a pristine 1962 extra fine to a worn, rusty 1991. The value isn't always obvious, but with curiosity, knowledge, and a little luck, the pennies in your drawer could be hiding unimaginable treasure. If you haven't already, hit subscribe to us Mint Mysteries and join us as we continue to uncover coins that rewrite history and redefine value. Who knows? The next coin you hold might just be the one that changes everything.